So over the last 2 years, I've sent well in excess of 3 million cold emails, and I'm going to teach you exactly what I've learned from doing this, the mistakes you need to avoid, and things you definitely should be doing. So my name's Harry. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Acquired. We help other agencies sign clients through cold outreach. Now, I know what I'm talking about in terms of cold email. I'm featured on SmartLead, which is a cold email sending software, and I've been doing this game for a little while. I've sent well over 3 million. That's just to be conservative. And I'm going to talk you through a story of how this came about and the biggest lessons that I've learned. So it all started about 2 years ago when I wanted to start an SMMA agency. So I watched some of the gurus online, I watched the likes of Eman and whatnot, and I thought, okay, this would be a great idea to start a social media marketing agency, right? However, the big problem was I couldn't get leads. My content was literally getting 0 views and there was no results to show for it. And I was thinking, how on earth have these people scaled so massively, right, up to huge numbers, and I can't even get like a like on my Instagram post? It didn't make sense to me. And I knew that I needed a system that would be able to get me results fast, because at this point I was actually stuck in a 9 to 5 and I just felt like I needed to get out. This was my 9 to 5. I was actually working on motorbikes. It was a pretty cool one, I'm not gonna lie, but still it was like an office job. It looked cool for moments like this, but the reality wasn't quite like that. And I really need to get out there. I felt a lot of pain in that position and I was honestly desperate, right? This is where I came across the likes of lead generation and cold email. I was searching for ways how to sign clients, came across cold emails, like, that sounds interesting. Let's learn a little bit more about it. Maybe like you're doing with this video, so I'm going to explain to you exactly what it is. I started doing this manually. Effectively, lead generation cold email is just sending an email to someone you haven't spoken to before, who hasn't consumed your content, and they don't know who you are. So I started reaching out to basically people. I'd find them on LinkedIn, scrape their email from something like SalesQL. It's a tool I used to use back in the day. And I'd send them an email saying, hey, notice you're doing this and that. I can help you by getting you more clients and more leads for your business, right? However, the problem was I've maybe sent around 30 of these out a day manually, tried to put a lot of time and effort into it. It was really painful, really slow. And I got basically no results. No one replied to me. The people that did reply to me told me to get lost. And I was stuck back at square one thinking, what on earth do I do? How do I sign clients? I can't be in this 9 to 5 forever. I need to escape it. So as I stuck to this for a few more weeks, I realized that my numbers were always between a certain range. As I was sending these emails out, I noticed that I'd always get around a 3 to 6% reply rate. I was just tracking it in a standard spreadsheet. And around 10 to 20% of these would be positive in one way or another, right? After I stuck to this for some time. And I noticed that the range was pretty small. It wouldn't be between 3% and 50% reply rate. It would be between 3 and 6%. And the same for positive reply rate. It'd be between 10 and 20%. It wouldn't be a world of difference. Now, the reason why this was important is because I had a decision to make. I could either focus on trying to maximize every single percentage and turn that 3% into a 10%, even though that's not really even possible here, it would probably be a 6%, or take what I have, the numbers that I have, and scale this, right? Because at this point, after a few weeks, I was getting a couple of responses here and there, still nothing major, but I had some basic level of interest. And I had a decision whether I could just maximize my percentages, maximize all of the replies I'm getting and the positive replies, or just take this to market and scale it and get in front of loads of people and acquire traffic. I realized that what I was selling was how to help other businesses sign more clients. That absolutely has product market fit. Businesses will always want that, whether it's in a recession or not, whether it's in a good market or not. Businesses will always want that. So I understood that. I understood that I would have product market fit, and I wanted to take the route of scale, rather than trying to maximize all the little percentages. Now, the reason why I done this, once again, is because I had PMF, product market fit. If you do not have product market fit and you're not getting regular interest from cold audiences, you cannot do this. You need to focus all of your time and attention on acquiring product market fit. That is by making your offer way more attractive to attract cold audiences into buying what you want to sell. If you don't know how to do that, I have another video on literally how to create a killer offer that will work in any cold audience, guaranteed. Click on my channel and try and find that video. It will really help you. But as soon as you have product market fit, aka people actually want what you're selling, you don't just think it's a good idea in your head, people actually want it, then you can go for this path of maximum growth. The way that I started doing this was I started setting up email accounts and domains and started by sending around 100 to 200 emails per day, right? They were going out automated on SmartLead by using domains I bought off GoDaddy and then email accounts that I created using Gmail or Outlook. From here, because I was doing these numbers, I was no longer sending around 30 emails a day. I was sending 1 to 200. I started booking some calls. I started booking around 3 to 5 calls per week. Not a big number. And yes, they were cold, like they weren't very warm audiences. They were still quite cold to what I'd done. I had no experience, but I was still getting calls in the calendar. And this was simply a function of doing more, because I had that range between 3 and 6% reply rate. If I just tried to focus on 6% reply rate, but I was only doing 30 emails a day, I still wouldn't get any results, right? It's better, if you break down the numbers, it's better to have a 3% reply rate and do 200 bits of outreach per day rather than 30 bits of outreach per day with a 6% reply rate. Of course, this all depends on your total addressable market, but that is what made sense to me, and that's what makes sense to most people watching this. You have a big enough market, just go out there and put your offer in front of them, right? So I started booking 3 to 5 calls per week. I was like, okay, cool. I'm getting calls in the calendar now. Let's literally ramp this up, right? So I started going to the bigger numbers, started scaling to 2,000 emails per day, then 3,000, then 5,000, right? So I was sending a lot of emails every single day. Now, what happened was I started to book 10 to 20 calls per week. It really was as simple as this because I had product market fit. It was a very simple system where I put X amount of input in, which is how many emails I'd send, and I'd get X amount of calls on the back end, how many calls I've actually booked in my calendar, right? So it's emails in, calls out. And I figured out what the percentages were, how many percentage would reply, how many would reply positively, how many of these would get on a call, how many of these would close, and how long they would stay with me. And I had the whole system set up. And you can do this if you're on a B2B agency. Very, very simple. You can track it in a spreadsheet. Right. So as soon as I knew these numbers and I knew my market was big enough, I just started doing more outreach. Right. I started setting up the systems to send 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 emails per day. Now, before we go any further, if you're not sure how to set these systems up, I'm opening a couple slots of one-to-one mentorship where I can help you do this. Just click the link in the description. But anyway, I started booking a ton of calls, right? I started booking 10, 20 calls per week. And right now we're booking, honestly, like probably 40 calls per week, a lot, just for this exact same system. However, there was a period where this stopped. This all happened until 2 things happened, okay? The first one was I tried to pivot my niche. I have a specific niche where I know the lingo of this niche, I know how their systems work, I know their businesses, I know how to help them. And for some reason, I thought it would be a good idea just to pivot this and just go into a completely new niche that I don't have expertise in, but I wanted to grow there, right? As soon as I pivoted there, my whole funnel basically crumbled. It didn't work anymore. I was still booking calls, however, I was booking less, and these calls were closing at a significantly lower rate. The whole ROI of the whole system just crumbled and it didn't work anymore. And this is because I no longer had product market fit. Every market has a different product or service that they need. The service that I'm selling is designed for a specific market that can help them. As you enter new markets and you try to do new things, you lose your product market fit. And this is what I see so many entrepreneurs do. They see a tiny bit of success and they think, oh, let's just spread it across everywhere. Let's now go into here, let's go into here, go into here. You don't realize you lose your product market fit, you lose your edge, you lose your advantage, and it's only gonna harm you. It's boring, but if something is working, stick at it, do not stop it, because you found the formula. This is what takes the biggest amount of time, energy, effort, and expenditure is to find this product market fit and find people that actually want what you're selling. So as soon as you find your product market fit, do not stop, okay? And don't do what I done like an idiot and try and switch. Luckily, I realized after 2 weeks of tracking the data that I could just go back to the original campaign in my standard niche, and I instantly started making 4 times more money the next week because I had my product market fit again. So moral of the story is, if something's working for you in a specific market, stick with it, don't pivot unless you really want to. But if you do, you need to find a new product market fit. And this is literally going to take you back to square one. And you just have to be okay with that. So if you have a system that's working in a niche that's working, stick with it unless you're prepared to go to absolute zero again and have to find product market fit, right? That's one thing that happened. Then the other thing that happened was emails became significantly harder. I've been battling with this for the last 2 years, ever since I very first started. So this isn't really a big thing for me. We can do things to get around this. We can make our emails more personalized. We can use better systems, better deliverability, etc. But this forced me to think that it's not a good idea just to have one channel all the time that you solely rely on, because there's a high amount of risk with that. So I started experimenting with LinkedIn. LinkedIn started working really, really well. And I tested the numbers and noticed that I had a lower cost per acquisition, right, on LinkedIn. The way that I found this out was I actually used one of Daniel Fazio's spreadsheets. Shout out to Daniel Fazio, he's an absolute wizard at this stuff. And I used this spreadsheet and I calculated the numbers both for my cold email campaigns, right, which I was sending around 2,000 per day, sending 28 days a month, getting a 3% reply rate, 30% of these being positive, and then 30% of those getting on a call with a 15% close rate. With all these costs, it was costing me around $306 to acquire a customer, okay? So not bad. I was having a big return on my money, but when you look at the numbers on LinkedIn, I started sending 400 cold DMs per day. And I've got a system that I want to keep to myself on how I do this, unless you want to be mentored by me one-to-one. If you do, click the link in the description. I started sending 400 cold DMs per day on LinkedIn. 28 days a month. I had about 4% reply rate, 30% of these being positive, and 50% of the people who reply positively jump on a call. Once again, same 15% close rate. So instead of acquiring a customer for $306, it only cost me $86, which is crazy. I'm basically getting 100x ROI on my money using the LinkedIn system. It's pretty insane because the costs are so low and the results are so good because not many people are doing this. So effectively, I figured out that LinkedIn actually was a strategy that was getting me a lower cost per acquisition, and it was just as easy, if not easier, to run. So I started doubling down with this. So I have discovered a new, more effective method, right? Which was really sort of pushed on me because I'd sent so many cold emails and I'd seen the decline over the years. But the main lessons learned from sending over 3 million cold emails and booking over 1,200 calls was actually that cold email has become significantly harder, and it will continue to become significantly harder. So your only option here is to investigate new channels or become a true expert. Either one will work, but right now cold email is getting way harder. That's what I've learned after sending so many. And the other thing that is extremely important that not many people talk about, and they need to talk about this more, is you absolutely need product market fit to succeed. It's the most crucial part of any business. So you need product market fit, aka the market needs to want what you are selling. And if you don't have this and you're reaching out to cold audiences and they're not interested in it, you need to spend as much time as possible focusing on finding product market fit if you don't have it. As soon as you have this, everything's scalable. You can just send more emails, you can send more LinkedIn, you can spend more on ads, for example. But you need product market fit. So hopefully this has been helpful. These are the lessons that I've learned from sending over 3 million cold emails, and hopefully you can take this advice and run with it however you wish. Once again, if you do want to be mentored by me one-to-one on these systems to book you hundreds of calls a month, then just use the link in the description. You can chat with myself. But if not, no worries. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.